Good things don't last forever, not even restaurants that once served top quality cuisine with consistency. Join us on a journey today as we explore 20 amazing restaurants from the 1980s that have now faded into history. Victoria Station, a cut above the rest. Victoria Station was a standout restaurant in the 70s and 80s, famous for its unique train-themed concept and signature prime rib. Founded in 1969 by 3 Cornell University Hotels School graduates, Robert Freeman, Peter Lee, and Richard Bradley, Victoria Station was inspired by the charm of Victorian-era railway stations. Each location was designed with authentic railroad cars, offering diners the novelty of eating inside refurbished train compartments. This meticulous attention to detail, paired with their famous slow-roasted prime rib, made Victoria Station a beloved dining destination across the US. At its peak in the late 70s and early 80s, the chain boasted over 100 locations, with a menu centered around hearty American classics like steaks, prime rib, and seafood. The restaurant became a go-to spot for special occasions where families and friends gathered in a one-of-a-kind setting. Despite its early triumphs, Victoria Station began losing steam by the late 80s. Rising competition, shifting dining preferences, and poor management decisions led to a decline in sales. By 1986, the company filed for bankruptcy, and by the early 90s, most locations had shuttered. Though it no longer exists, Victoria Station is fondly remembered for its immersive train-themed ambience and its legendary prime rib, which turned every meal into a special event. From elegant railway-inspired dining, we move to a restaurant that transported guests to the age of knights and kings. Gulliver's, a feast from the past. Gulliver's was an iconic 80s restaurant that offered an English-inspired dining experience with a medieval twist. Named after Jonathan Swift's famous literary character from Gulliver's Travels, the restaurant exuded old-world charm with its dark wood furnishings, grand chandeliers, and knights in shining armor. It felt like stepping into a grand English tavern, making it a favorite for families and anyone seeking a unique atmosphere. Founded by restaurateur Horatio McAlpine in the early 70s, Gulliver's specialized in hearty fare, particularly its signature prime rib. Slow roasted to perfection, this tender cut of beef was served alongside classic British-inspired sides like Yorkshire pudding, creamed spinach, and mashed potatoes. The restaurant aimed to recreate the feel of a medieval banquet hall, offering a dining experience unlike any other. By the mid-80s, Gulliver's had gained a devoted following, particularly among diners who appreciated its rich flavors and elaborate setting. However, as the demand for lighter, more casual dining grew, the appeal of heavy, meat-centric meals began to wane. Financial struggles compounded its decline, and by the early 90s, most Gulliver's locations had closed their doors. Though it has vanished from the dining scene, Gulliver's is still remembered for its legendary prime, rib, English charm, and immersive medieval ambience. Next on our list is a lively spot that became a go-to destination for both casual meals and celebrations in the 80s. Bennigan's, a casual dining icon. Bennigan's, the Irish-American casual dining. Favorite Bennigan's was one of the most beloved American casual dining chains of the 80s, known for its Irish-themed menu and lively pub-like atmosphere. Founded in 1976 by Norman Brinker, who had previously worked with Chili's and Steak and Ale, Bennigan's quickly became a go-to spot for families, young adults, and groups of friends looking for great food in a fun setting. The restaurant served hearty American-Irish dishes, with popular menu items like the Monte Cristo sandwich, crispy potato skins, and beer-buttered fish and chips. But Bennigan's wasn't just about the food, It was designed to be a social hub where people could unwind, share a meal, and enjoy a few drinks. The bar area was always buzzing, featuring beers on tap, creative cocktails, and friendly conversation. With its combination of approachable comfort food and a warm, welcoming atmosphere. Bennigan's thrived in the 80s, expanding to hundreds of locations across the United States. However, by the late 90s and early 2000s, competition in the casual dining industry intensified, and the chain struggled to adapt to changing consumer preferences. In 2008, Bennigan's filed for bankruptcy, leading to the closure of many of its locations. Despite its struggles, the Bennigan's brand made several attempts at a revival, with some franchise locations still operating today. For many, Bennigan's remains a nostalgic symbol of 80s dining, a place where you could enjoy a Monte Cristo with a cold pint in a laid-back, welcoming setting. Now, let's set sail to our next restaurant, which embraced a nautical theme. Horatio's, a seafood lover's paradise. Horatio's was a seafood-centric restaurant that offered diners an upscale yet relaxed experience, complete with maritime-inspired decor. Named after the legendary British naval hero Horatio Nelson, the restaurant evoked the charm of a grand seaside inn, featuring dark wood interiors, nautical accents, and an elegant ambience. Founded in the 70s, Horatio's was part of the booming trend of upscale casual dining in the 80s, where guests could enjoy high-quality food without the formality of fine dining. The menu featured an impressive selection of fresh seafood, including lobster, crab, grilled fish, and shellfish platters. For those who weren't seafood fans, the restaurant also offered premium steaks and other non-seafood options, making it a versatile choice for all kinds of diners. With its high-quality ingredients and coastal charm, Horatio's became a popular destination for both special occasions and casual nights out. However, as the restaurant industry evolved in the 90s, Horatio's began to struggle. Changing dining habits along with the rise of faster, more affordable dining options led to a decline in business. By the mid-90s, many Horatio's locations had closed, and the brand quietly faded into history. For those who had the chance to dine there, Horatio's is remembered fondly for its fresh seafood, elegant atmosphere, and role in shaping upscale casual dining in the 80s. Next, we turn to a restaurant that brought a touch of France to American dining. Magic Pan, the creperie that captivated America. Magic Pan was a unique restaurant chain that introduced American diners to the art of French crepes in the 70s and 80s. Founded in 1965 by Hungarian immigrants, Ilona and Peter Fono, the first Magic Pan opened in San Francisco, quickly gaining popularity for its delicate, thin pancakes filled with both savory and sweet ingredients. The restaurant's reputation grew rapidly through word of mouth, leading to a nationwide expansion during the 70s and early 80s. The menu was built around its signature crepes, which were prepared on special spinning griddles that customers could watch as they dined. Savory options like chicken divan and beef bourguignon were favorites, while dessert crepes, filled with chocolate, fresh fruit, or ice cream, became must-have treats for those with a sweet tooth. Magic Pan prided itself on delivering a sophisticated yet approachable French dining experience, making it a unique standout in the casual dining world. At its peak, the chain had over 100 locations across the US. However, by the late 80s, the novelty of crepes began to fade, and competition from more versatile dining chains took its toll. Business declined, and Magic Pan's last location closed in the early 90s. Although it's no longer around, Magic Pan remains a cherished memory of a time when dining out felt just a little more special and a little more French. Now let's head to a restaurant that was the go-to spot for Hollywood's elite. Casey's, a Hollywood legend. Casey's was one of Los Angeles' most legendary restaurants, beloved by Hollywood's elite and known for its star-studded clientele. Established in 1936 by former vaudeville performer Dave Chasen, the restaurant quickly became a hotspot for the rich and famous, offering an upscale dining experience in a glamorous old Hollywood setting. Over the decades, it welcomed icons like Clark Gable, Elizabeth Taylor, and Marilyn Monroe, and was even the site where Ronald Reagan proposed to Nancy Davis. With its aura of sophistication and exclusivity, Casey's was the epitome of Hollywood luxury. The restaurant's menu focused on elevated American cuisine with indulgent touches. One of its most iconic dishes was the famous chili, so legendary that Elizabeth Taylor had it flown to the set of Cleopatra in Rome. Other signature offerings included prime rib, shrimp cocktail, and the renowned hobo steak, all served in an ambience that exuded charm and refinement. However, as the dining scene evolved in the 1980s, Casey's began to struggle. Newer, trendier restaurants captured the attention of the elite, and the restaurant's popularity declined. By the 1990s, it had lost much of its luster, and in 1995, Casey's closed its doors for good. Though gone, it remains a cherished symbol of Hollywood's golden era, where movie stars dined in luxury. Up next, we shift from Hollywood glamour to a casual dining experience that was both familiar and exciting. The American Cafe. Launched in the 1970s, the American Cafe became a beloved casual dining spot throughout the 1980s, offering a laid-back yet slightly upscale atmosphere. Known for its broad selection of American comfort food, the restaurant catered to everyone, from families to young professionals, serving everything from burgers and sandwiches to steaks and seafood. Whether it was a casual lunch or a fun night out, the American Cafe provided an inviting setting with a focus on quality ingredients. The restaurant's charm lay in its ability to blend casual dining with an upscale touch. Interiors often featured cozy booths, exposed brick walls, and warm lighting, creating a welcoming space that felt both trendy and comfortable. The menu boasted contemporary American favorites such as grilled chicken, pasta dishes, and hearty salads, ensuring there was something for every diner. However, by the 1990s, the dining landscape had begun to shift. Fast casual restaurants and modern dining concepts gained traction, making it difficult for the American Cafe to compete. As customers gravitated toward quicker service and more innovative menus, the restaurant's appeal waned. By the early 2000s, many of its locations had closed, and the brand faded into obscurity. Still, for those who dine there, the American Cafe remains a nostalgic reminder of simple, satisfying meals in a relaxed yet refined setting. Next, we set sail to a restaurant that brought an exotic tropical flair to American dining. Trader Vic's Trader. Vic's was a Polynesian-themed restaurant chain that played a pivotal role in popularizing tiki culture in American dining. Founded in 1934 by Victor Bergeron in Oakland, California, Trader Vic's was among the first restaurants to introduce Americans to exotic flavors and island-inspired decor. With its bamboo furniture, tiki statues, and thatched roofs, the restaurant offered an immersive, escapist dining experience that transported guests to a tropical paradise. One of Trader Vic's biggest contributions to dining culture was its innovative cocktails. Bergeron is credited with creating the Mai Tai, a tropical rum-based drink that became a global tiki bar staple. The men featured Polynesian-inspired dishes such as roasted pork, shrimp, and chicken skewers, all paired with sweet and savory sauces that introduced diners to new and exciting flavors. At its peak, Crater Vic's had locations worldwide, becoming the go-to spot for those craving a fun, island-inspired atmosphere. However, as dining trends shifted in the 1980s toward more contemporary and health-conscious options, tiki culture lost its appeal. Trader Vic's struggled to maintain its customer base, and many of its locations closed in the 80s and 90s. Though a few locations still exist today, for many, Trader Vic's remains a nostalgic relic of an era filled with tropical drinks, island-inspired dishes, and carefree tiki-themed fun. Now, let's travel from tropical escapism to a refined Italian dining experience that transported guests straight to the heart of Rome. Tiberios was a fine dining Italian restaurant that brought authentic flavors and sophistication to American diners. Founded in the 1970s, it quickly became the go-to spot for those seeking an upscale experience, offering traditional Italian dishes made with the finest ingredients. The restaurant exuded elegance, with white tablecloths, candlelit tables, and an extensive wine list, carefully curated to complement its rich and flavorful menu. Tiberios specialized in Italian classics such as handmade pasta, creamy risottos, veal masala, and fresh seafood dishes that highlighted the vibrant flavors of Italy. It wasn't just a place to eat, it was a culinary journey that transported guests straight to the heart of Rome with every bite. However, by the late 1980s, Tiberios faced growing challenges. The rise of more casual dining options and the increasing costs of operating a high-end restaurant led to a decline in its customer base. As competition intensified and consumer preferences shifted toward more affordable eateries, Tiberios struggled to keep up. By the early 1990s, most locations had closed, but for those who dined there, Tiberios remains a cherished memory of refined Italian cuisine in an elegant setting. Kiss Pizza Place before, Chuck E. Cheese dominated the family-friendly pizza and arcade scene. There was Showbiz Pizza Place, launched in 1980 by Bob Brock and Robert L. Barney. Designed as a hybrid of pizza dining, arcade gaming, and live animatronic performances, it became an instant hit among children and families. The restaurant's biggest draw was the Rockafire Explosion, a lively group of animatronic animal characters that entertained guests with musical performances while they dined. The combination of fun entertainment, arcade games, and hot, cheesy pizza made Showbiz Pizza Place the ultimate birthday party destination throughout the 1980s. Its menu featured classic pizzas with a variety of toppings, along with salads and snacks that appealed to both kids and adults. However, by the late 1980s, Showbiz Pizza faced stiff competition from Chuck E. Cheese, which was rapidly gaining market share. In 1984, the two brands merged, and by 1992, Showbiz Pizza had been fully rebranded as Chuck E. Cheese, officially marking the end of its run. Though it no longer exists, Showbiz Pizza remains a nostalgic memory for many who grew up in the 80s, with the Rockafire Explosion still holding a special place in fans' hearts. Old Country Buffet, founded in 1983. Old Country Buffet defined all-you-can-eat American dining, offering an endless selection of comfort foods at an affordable price. It quickly became a favorite for families looking for variety, value, and a relaxed dining experience. The buffet featured a rotating selection of classic American dishes, including crispy fried chicken, creamy mashed potatoes, mac and cheese, slow roasted beef, and a wide assortment of salads and desserts. Diners loved the ability to serve themselves, piling their plates high and going back for seconds or thirds. The cozy, homey ambience, marked by wooden accents and a welcoming layout, made it an inviting space for gatherings and celebrations. During the 1980s and early 1990s, Buffet-style restaurants were booming and Old Country Buffet thrived. However, by the late 1990s and early 2000s, the chain started facing challenges. Shifting dining habits, rising competition, and difficulties maintaining food quality contributed to its decline. Many locations shuttered throughout the 2000s, and while a few still exist, the brand has largely faded into history. For many Americans though, Old Country Buffet remains a nostalgic reminder of indulgent, all-you-can-eat family dining. Casa Lupita. Casa Lupita was a beloved Mexican restaurant chain that brought bold, authentic flavors to American diners throughout the 1980s. Established in the late 70s, it offered a warm, inviting atmosphere perfect for families, date nights, and group outings. With colorful murals, rustic furnishings, and lively music, Casa Lupita made guests feel like they had stepped into a cantina south of the border. The menu featured sizzling fajitas, hearty burritos, enchiladas smothered in rich sauces, and tacos bursting with fresh, seasoned fillings. One of its standout offerings was its tableside guacamole, made fresh in front of guests for an interactive dining experience. Margaritas and other Mexican-inspired cocktails added to the restaurant's festive vibe, making it a popular spot for both casual meals and celebrations. As Mexican cuisine grew in popularity throughout the 1980s, Casa Lupita thrived. However, by the mid-1990s, it struggled to compete with larger national chains that expanded rapidly. The shift toward fast casual Mexican dining also played a role in its decline. By the early 2000s, most Casa Lupita locations had closed. But for those who dined there, it remains a fond memory of flavorful Mexican cuisine and a vibrant, welcoming atmosphere. La Ruth's was a fine dining institution in the New Orleans area, renowned for its exceptional cuisine and top-tier service. Founded in 1966 by legendary chef Warren LaRuth, the restaurant quickly became a symbol of culinary excellence, blending French, Creole, and Southern influences to create a menu that captivated food lovers from near and far. Diners at La Ruth's were treated to an array of exquisite dishes, including lobster bisque, crab meat stuffed flounder, and veal with béarnaise sauce, all crafted with unmatched precision and artistry. The restaurant's unwavering commitment to fresh, high-quality ingredients set it apart in the fine dining world. Chef LaRuth himself was celebrated for his innovative approach and meticulous attention to detail, with many of his creations becoming signature dishes. Despite its tremendous success throughout the 70s and 80s, LaRuth's closed in 1982 when Chef LaRuth chose to retire, prioritizing the restaurant's high standards rather than allowing quality to wane over time. Though it no longer exists, La Ruth's legacy endures as a cornerstone of New Orleans' vibrant food scene, cherished by those who experienced its extraordinary cuisine. Next, we turn to a seafood chain that brought the flavors of the ocean to diners across the country. Rusty Scupper. Rusty Scupper was a beloved seafood restaurant chain that made fresh, high-quality seafood both accessible and affordable in a relaxed, coastal-inspired setting. Founded in 1981, it quickly became a go-to spot for seafood enthusiasts, particularly in coastal cities, where its commitment to serving the freshest local catches set it apart. The restaurant's extensive menu featured dishes like creamy clam chowder, golden crab cakes, buttery shrimp scampi, and broiled lobster, offering a true taste of the sea. But what made Rusty's Kappa truly special was its nautical-themed decor, complete with wooden ship wheels, fishing nets, and ocean-inspired accents, giving guests the sensation of dining by the waterfront. With its inviting ambience and consistently delicious seafood, Rusty's Kappa gained a loyal following. Families and large groups loved its balance of quality and affordability, making it an ideal choice for everything, from casual dinners to special celebrations. However, by the late 90s, the chain struggled to keep up with stiff competition from other seafood brands and the growing trend toward fast casual dining. Rising operational costs and market oversaturation forced many locations to close, and today only a handful of independently operated Rusty's Kappa restaurants remain. Still, for those who once dined there, Rusty's Kappa is fondly remembered as a place where fresh seafood met a laid-back coastal vibe. Now let's leave the ocean behind and head to the open range, where steak and potatoes reigned supreme. Bonanza Bonanza was a steakhouse chain that made hearty, satisfying meals accessible to the masses. Launched in 1963 by Dan Blocker, best known for playing Hoss on the classic TV show Bonanza, the restaurant offered an affordable steakhouse experience that appealed to families and budget-conscious diners alike. Bonanza's concept was simple: serve quality steaks and American comfort food at reasonable prices, making it a favorite for weeknight dinners and family outings. The menu featured a range of steak cuts, from tender sirloin to juicy ribeye, along with chicken, seafood, and an all-you-can-eat salad bar. A standout feature that let guests customize their meals with fresh vegetables, toppings, and dressings. During the 80s, Bonanza thrived thanks to its unbeatable combination of value, variety, and a welcoming, family-friendly atmosphere. However, by the late 90s, the steakhouse industry had become fiercely competitive, with chains like Outback Steakhouse and Texas Roadhouse dominating the market. Changing consumer preferences and increased competition led to the closure of many Bonanza locations. While a few still exist today, its golden era is a nostalgic memory for those who enjoyed its generous portions and laid-back charm. Now, we take a trip to the Pacific Islands, where tiki culture once ruled the dining scene. The Hawaiian. The Hawaiian was a Polynesian-themed restaurant that transported guests to a tropical paradise during the tiki culture craze of the 70s and early 80s. True to its name, the restaurant offered a fully immersive, island-inspired dining experience, complete with bamboo accents, tiki statues, and thatched roof booths, making diners feel like they had stepped into a Hawaiian getaway. The menu celebrated the bold, vibrant flavors of the Pacific Rim, featuring fresh seafood, teriyaki-glazed meats, pineapple-infused dishes, and tropical cocktails like Mai Tais and Piña Coladas. One of its most memorable offerings was its festive luau nights, complete with a whole roasted pig and lively Polynesian entertainment, including hula dancers and fire knife performers. At its peak, the Hawaiian was a favorite spot for families, couples, and anyone seeking a fun, exotic dining experience. However, by the late 80s, the popularity of tiki culture began to fade, and with it, interest in Polynesian-themed restaurants. Unable to keep up with shifting dining trends, most locations had closed by the early 90s. Though it no longer exists, the Hawaiian remains a cherished memory for those who experienced its tropical ambience, festive entertainment, and uniquely flavorful cuisine. Now let's head to Italy for a taste of old-world pasta at one of the most beloved Italian chains of the 80s. The Old Spaghetti Factory, founded in 1969 by Gus Dassin, The Old Spaghetti Factory was a family-friendly Italian restaurant that soared in popularity during the 1980s. Known for its whimsical decor and budget-friendly meals, it provided a charming yet casual dining experience that appealed to both families and couples alike. Each location was designed to capture the nostalgia of a bygone era, featuring antique furnishings, vintage chandeliers, and even repurposed trolley cars transformed into cozy dining booths. The restaurant's menu was simple yet satisfying, with pasta dishes as the heart of its offerings. Guests could choose from a variety of sauces, including classic marinara, hearty meat sauce, and rich clam sauce. Signature dishes like the famous Misitra cheese and brown butter pasta were standout favorites. Every meal came as a complete package, including soup or salad, a warm loaf of bread, and a scoop of spumoni ice cream for dessert. Throughout the 1980s, the Old Spaghetti Factory thrived as families flocked to its inviting atmosphere and affordable prices. However, as competition increased and dining trends shifted toward upscale and fast casual experiences, its popularity started to wane. While a handful of locations remain open today, its golden era as a beloved family dining destination has long passed. Still, it holds a nostalgic place in the hearts of many. Next, we visit an establishment that once defined California's fine dining scene. The Velvet Turtle. The Velvet Turtle was a premier fine dining chain in the 1970s and 1980s, renowned for its elegant ambient and upscale American cuisine. Established in 1965 by Art Ginsberg, it quickly became the go-to spot for special occasions, business dinners, and romantic evenings. With its refined decor, featuring dark wood paneling, plush velvet chairs, and candlelit tables, the Velvet Turtle exuded sophistication and charm, attracting an upscale clientele. The menu focused on classic American fare with a gourmet twist. Diners could indulge in dishes like prime rib, lobster thermidor, shrimp scampi, and chateaubriand, all served with an array of exquisite side dishes and fine wines. The restaurant also prided itself on its impeccable service, with staff trained to provide a luxurious dining experience. At its peak in the 1980s, the Velvet Turtle expanded across multiple locations, catering to those seeking a refined yet comfortable dining experience. However, as dining trends shifted toward more casual and affordable options, the restaurant struggled to keep up. By the mid-1990s, most locations had closed, leaving behind a legacy of fine dining elegance that few establishments have been able to replicate. Now, let's journey to New Orleans for a taste of Creole sophistication. Maison Blanche. Maison Blanche, established in the early 1900s in New Orleans, was originally a high-end department store catering to the city's elite. However, what truly set it apart was its renowned in-house restaurant, a fine dining gem that became a culinary institution for decades. The restaurant at Maison Blanche was the epitome of French Creole elegance, offering a menu that featured delicacies like gumbo, oysters Rockefeller, shrimp roulade, and steak au poivre, all crafted with the finest ingredients. The grand dining room, adorned with white tablecloths and impeccable service, made every meal feel like a special occasion. It was also a popular spot for afternoon tea, providing a refined retreat for shoppers seeking a luxurious break. Though the restaurant remained a staple of New Orleans' fine dining scene throughout the 1980s, it ultimately fell victim to changing shopping habits. As department stores declined and shopping malls took over, Maison Blanche and its legendary restaurant struggled to compete. By the early 1990s, both had closed their doors. but they are still fondly remembered as symbols of a time when shopping and fine dining went hand in hand. Finally, let's wrap up our journey with a restaurant that blended casual fun with bold flavors. Chi-Chi's was a lively Mexican restaurant chain that brought a fiesta-like atmosphere to American dining in the 1980s. Founded in 1975 by restaurateur Mano McDermott and former Green Bay Packers player Max McGee, Chi-Chi's quickly became a hotspot for those craving bold flavors and a fun, vibrant experience. The menu was packed with crowd favorites like chimichangas, enchiladas, and sizzling fajitas, served with generous portions of rice and beans. Their fried ice cream became an iconic dessert, while their legendary margaritas made them a go-to destination for happy hour enthusiasts. During the 1980s, Chi-Chi's expanded rapidly, becoming one of the most recognizable Mexican restaurant chains in the US. Its lively decor, featuring sombreros, colorful walls, and upbeat music, made it a favorite for family gatherings and celebrations. However, by the early 2000s, the brand faced major challenges. Increased competition from fast casual Mexican spots like Chipotle and the growing demand for more authentic Mexican cuisine led to declining sales. The final blow came in 2003 when a hepatitis A outbreak at several locations severely damaged Chi-Chi's reputation. Soon after, the company filed for bankruptcy, closing most of its US locations. Despite its downfall, Chi-Chi's remains a nostalgic memory for those who loved its festive atmosphere and flavorful Mexican fare.